Good day, Zimbabwe. Today is World Intellectual Property Day, and we're here at ZIMURA, the Zimbabwe Musicians' Rights Association offices. And with me here is the director of ZIMURA, Polisile Chimini, and the deputy director of ZIMURA, Mr. Henry Makombe. And we've got Willis Watafi, who is a composer and a hitmaker. Many of you know him for Wanga, and he does business as well. He does a lot of things. And I am your host. My name is Tinashe Nyamkapa. I am a composer, a teacher in music, a music consultant, and an artist as well. And so today we want to talk about the Intellectual Property Day, which has a theme that says "Feel the Beat of IP." And we're going to talk about it and, look at ZIMURA. So I'm going to be your moderator for today. And we're going to start with the director telling us what is ZIMURA, what is intellectual property, how does ZIMURA come in when it comes to IP. So, Polisile, over to you.
Good day, Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe Music Rights Association is a collecting society. A collecting society is an organization which is a go-between authors of music and users of music. The idea is such that the author of music gets compensated when users use their music. It does not matter where this music has been used. It can be by broadcasters, by shops, by buses, by trains, by restaurants, by nightclubs, you name it. Everywhere where music is used, it has to be paid for, and this money should find its way back to the author as what are called royalties. This came by through what is called intellectual property, which is the property of the mind. Intellectual property is as good as tangible property, but intellectual property is intangible property. When I say it as good as tangible property, I mean intellectual property is as good as owning a house, it's as good as owning a car, it's as good as owning a cow. So this property belongs to the author. The author is the person who has written the music. And as much as a house owner has got full rights to their house, an intellectual property owner has got full rights to their music.
Awesome. That is so great. So we want to look a lot at ZIMURA. And guys, remember, you guys can come in later even to ask and add points on this. But we want to come, us as musicians, I think me and Willis will confirm. We want to know what is the benefit to a musician of having a CMO called ZIMURA. What is the benefit to me, of ZIMURA, and what is the benefit of intellectual property? And so now we're gonna really open up the floor and go through it, so more of an open conversation. But we want to look at this. What is the benefit of ZIMURA? Like the ordinary man on the street, munu pa street angachifunza kuti ZIMURA ine basa rei neni? Or a musician who is into music is thinking, what is the benefit of ZIMURA? What is the benefit of intellectual property? I don't know who wants to take that one first. Okay. The director is going to go first.
Collecting societies came by after realizing that the authors themselves cannot follow up everywhere where their music is used at the same time and be able to benefit financially from the uses. I'll give an example. Willis Watafi's music can be played right now at Radio Zimbabwe. It can be playing at ZFM. It can be playing at Star FM. It can be playing at Rainbow Towers. It can be playing at Chop Chop Restaurant. So all those areas will be using maybe the same song or different songs that belong to the same artist at the same time, but in different venues. So this artist is supposed to benefit from all these venues, but he does not have the time to follow all these venues that are using his music at the same time. That's how collective administration was established, so that collecting societies can come in as a go-between between the artist and those other people who use his music, so that the collecting society can follow up and make sure that all those monies get back to the artists.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Mr. Makombe, do you want to add something on that?
Yes, sure. Also, our local repertoire can be performed in other countries, like, for example, South Africa, Botswana, UK, PRS. So through these organizations, which are called collective management organizations, CMOs, that are in each and every country, we have signed what we call reciprocal agreements. So in these agreements, we give each other responsibilities. It is difficult for us to monitor a bar that is performing in Botswana. It is also difficult for us to monitor the use of his songs in Kenya, for example. So if you've got an arrangement with Kenyan society, they can then monitor in their own territory and then remit the royalties to ZIMURA, and then we forward the royalties to the member. Yes.
That's interesting. Willis, we pass over the question to you as a musician.
Yes.
Having been a member, as a member of ZIMURA, and by the way, me and Willis are both members of ZIMURA. By the way, as a member of ZIMURA,
Yeah.
what is the benefit of having ZIMURA?
That has always been the dilemma of the local artist, where you cannot monitor by yourself, or the means to do it, the means of production for you to actually say my music is being played in Bulawayo or in Kenya, wherever else, and you understand that because of what has happened with the whole global village, your music finds itself in so many different places that you do not know about. But you find that with these agreements, once I joined ZIMURA and became a full member, I found that it was actually easy. There was so much money that I started making that I actually didn't know that I was supposed to be making. I was actually made aware of how much ZIMURA can actually stand in the gap, and because they are lawyers as well, they also understand. I think outside of Aripo, they are the only other lawyers that I know who understand IP law, and they can actually help you negotiate record label deals. I'm one artist who's signed to so many different record labels outside the country. I've been approached by Sheer Sound, Gallo, and now there's QRM, one RPM that is actually approaching me concerning that. So it's easy for me to actually show ZIMURA my contract and say, could you guys read the fine print, because this is where we lose our monies. So ZIMURA actually stands in the gap because I get to cede my rights so that they actually represent me fully as if it's their own contract. Because at the end of the day, we need to actually make sure that we are monetized. One, we earn a living out of what we create, which is what director was saying. IP property is just as good as any tangible property, like a house or anything like that. So joining ZIMURA for me has been a positive, because airplay, I know there's some radio stations that do not want to pay airplay, but ZIMURA has done so much. There's a time when ZIMURA actually attached a bus that belonged to a big broadcaster here. That's how much these guys are willing to fight for the artist. At the end of the day, there's a lot of misunderstanding outside, where we're getting a lot of misinformation going on about concerning people who either are not members or are not composers or are not members of ZIMURA or have not benefited due to the fact that maybe their works are not being used, or they've just decided not to join.
Or they don't play original music.
Yeah, exactly. That's a story for another day, but I know we'll get into it. But this is the thing. We are on a road to protect intellectual property. So if you do not have intellectual property to be protected, sometimes you're not invited to this conversation, because you do not understand what it means to have a house. If you do not own a house, you cannot determine what happens to somebody's house if you do not own one. But only those who are in real estate and own properties know exactly how to respect what is owned by another individual. So I applaud ZIMURA for what they've done. And recently, sorry to keep talking.
No, keep
2 weeks ago,
I had an issue where I was trying to, because I'm promoting my 25th year in the music. It's a celebration album. So we're trying to bring back memories and nostalgic moments through the old album that I did the first time, which was a banger here, where I used to lead a group called Africa Revenge. 90% of that music was written by me, composed by me. So when I tried to actually put that music on my YouTube channel, I couldn't. I was called an infringer because there's somebody else who had actually put that music on their YouTube, and they had about 2 million views, I think. So ZIMURA actually helped me to plug down those people from YouTube, so that I can earn my respected space back, so that I can put my music back. So these are some of the things and the functions that ZIMURA does quietly. Sadly, they are not allowed a lot, because we do not believe in fighting back with mud, but we believe in letting the law take its course. Justice may be delayed, but it's not denied, because when it takes its course, we'll see we'll have the last laugh at the end of the day, because there's infringement. So some of these careless messages that are being spread about and out there concerning ZIMURA is because ZIMURA is quiet, but it does not mean that ZIMURA is wrong. It just means that we allow the law to take its course, and we do not go about on social media spewing misinformation and dirty tricks just to get the sympathy of the many.
Yeah.
We go out there and spread what are facts. And when the facts come out, at the end of the day, we are hoping that we can still see each other, but and say hi. Because at the end of the day, we are about the law. We're not against anyone. We're not against a cover band or... No, we're just about the law. Can people get compensated for what is due to them? And ZIMURA stands in that gap, because their mandate is to represent composers.
Yes.
Yes.
So you got into the issue that is hot on the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know we wanted to sort of delay it, but it comes up and everyone is talking about it.
Yeah.
The issue of cover bands have been such a big issue, and now people are acting as if ZIMURA hasn't been doing anything for artists. And also maybe the definition of the different artists, because I think when a person look at an artist, they say kanangori mnanori is a guitar. If you just play a guitar, they're like, okay, this is an artist. But ZIMURA is more concerned with composers, right?
Yeah.
Policil and
guitarists. If I may just interject, a guitarist is also a composer.
If they compose,
if
they compose, because some guitarists do not compose. Some only play what someone else has played.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying, if an artist is part of my band and they've actually composed, and if we do not have an agreement to say you are getting paid one-off payment to come and play, right? If we're not agreeing to do that, because some artists will say, just give me $700 to play guitar on you, and that's it. And someone will say, don't pay me. I want to get royalties every time your song is played. These are different kind of compositions. Some are paid one time. Some are not paid. Some will say, I don't want to get paid now. I know this song is going to do well. So when things start happening, when there's licensing deals, ABCD in movies, movie placements, because these are the things that pay
for the risk.
Exactly.
But
so you have a
ZIMURA then
split
comes in now to protect that guitarist.
Exactly, because that guitarist should also be protected here. Because when we send our split sheets here to ZIMURA, I'm naming everyone who's supposed to benefit, from production to compositions, that person who has actually performed a vocal performance, and the person who's also performed as an instrumentalist. So all those people are also covered by ZIMURA. So people must understand that ZIMURA is not about the guy Arkushaura. No. It's about compositions,
Yes.
IP.
It's not just
protection.
about the band leader.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, sometimes the band leader might not even be the one who has composed the song.
Exactly.
Because
Yes.
there's been instances, and I think ZIMURA has actually helped there, where someone anonyorwa song, they have a song written for them, and then
Yes.
it blows up.
Yes.
But the person who is the true composer, because
the
the
one who
person
gets
who
paid.
wrote the song
Yes.
is the one who should get royalties.
Exactly.
So maybe guys, explain to us how that has worked through the years, and how you have even helped in arbitration in such cases,
Yes.
and help us to define what is a composer, because I think many people are very confused, especially in this nation, when the word composer is used.
Yeah.
But the man on the street doesn't understand kuti composer chi. Because many people can see a song that's very popular, but not know kuti song hii haina kutonyorwa na ningi who has performed it. So there's a performer.
Yes.
there's the performer, but there's the composer.
Yes. Yes.
And ZIMURA is really more into
The
protecting
compositions.
the compositions,
The
the
owner.
owner of the work.
Thank you.
But let us give it to either Ms. Polisile or Mr. Makombe to explain this to us.
Okay. When we look at copyright, we have to realize that it has got two legs. There is copyright, and then there are related rights. Even our law is called the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Act of Zimbabwe. So these neighboring rights are rights which are directly related to copyright. Who has copyright is determined by what the person does when the work is being created. And ZIMURA, as a collecting society, concentrates on music authors, music writers, lyric writers, producers, publishers. When we come to artists like session musicians, like backing vocalists, we are now talking of neighboring rights. For as long as this person has not contributed to the composition of the song, the person does not own copyright. But these people who assist composers to bring the song to the public have what are called neighboring rights. The performers, anyone who has anything, the dancers, anyone who has anything to do with the song, but they did not write the music, they did not create the lyrics, then they have what are called neighboring rights. So as a collecting society, ZIMURA has not yet dealt with the owners of neighboring rights, but it only deals with the owners of copyright.
That's very interesting. Mr. Makombe, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to what the executive director has just said. A composer is someone who creates something from
Scratch.
nothing.
From nothing.
Yes. So we are saying that this person can create an instrument, the beat. And you can also have an author who then comes up with lyrics. So one can be both the author and the composer. You guys, you understand yourself better because
So, but the
you can have the lyrics and you can hear the beat in your mind, and then I direct either the producer to say no, apapa instrumentation guide. Yes, so you can be both a composer and an author. Yeah, yes, and this is why producers also are part of
ZIMURA.
Yes, part of
And they're
ZIMURA, because
protected by
yes,
ZIMURA.
because you can go to a producer, to a record label, but you've got the lyrics and they create the beat
They
for
create
you.
Yeah.
Yes,
They
yes.
create the music. So
Yes.
we are looking at, there's the melody, right? And then there's the lyrics,
Yes.
right? On a song, if then the producer, someone comes with my lyrics, what dine my lyrics haya, but andisuna so ndrukunzwa, maybe ndrukunzwa ngingengi, and then now
Yes.
the producer puts, and so they have wrote the
Composed,
song.
yes, co-composed.
It's a core right.
Yes,
where
yes.
the song hasn't only been written by one person, and so
Yes.
ZIMURA is good there because it also protects the producers.
Yes.
Because the Atidima band leaders who or artists who go to a producer and get work done but don't give the producer his flowers.
rights.
Yes, and this is something many producers out there do not understand. That when you produce, you become co-composer.
Yes.
You've got your share for that piece of music that you have produced in that stable. So you then need to sign a split sheet that Willis was talking about. The lyricist or even the artist can then agree on the percentage with you, the producer, that my contribution was 30% and yours was 70%. So whenever the distribution is being done, it will be done using those percentages.
Okay, that's great.
Yes.
So the Zimbabwe, you need to know, the world, you need to know that ZIMURA is for the musicians. Prior
Yes.
to what people are saying, but it's to understand that ZIMURA is dealing with a specific kind of musician.
Yes.
Yes,
Exactly.
That
composers.
is dealing with composition.
Yes.
Whether you're a producer or you are a singer or you're a guitarist, but those who are involved. So we can even have an instrumental copyrighted, right? And
Yes.
someone can come to ZIMURA and say, this is my instrumental.
Yes, yes, it is a piece of
So
music.
yeah, copyright where that.
Yeah, it is.
Is it copyrighted?
If I can explain
Yes,
such kind
go
of
ahead.
instrumentalist, Sir Louis Mhlanga is a legend. Him being a legend, composes, but he does not vocalize, but he composes. And what is a song? A song is melody, because the thing that you protect mostly in a song is melody. This is why you find people like Nicki Minaj and people like that who have been sued, then a Tracy Chapman, because they took a melody that people know. You can say, was it? This is fast car. There's a young artist now who's a country musician in the United States who became so huge doing the cover of Fast Car. But a lot of young people didn't know that it also won a Grammy Award in 1989? A long time ago, right? They didn't know that. They actually thought this young country musician has made Tracy Chapman a lot of money. Not knowing that, no. Tracy Chapman actually is the owner of the song, and the same song also won a Grammy Award. So because of no knowledge in it, they were surprised why this young man was giving Tracy Chapman 100% ownership. But the song and the melody belong to Tracy Chapman. Then you have, for the benefit of younger people, there's a young gentleman called Burna Boy. Burna Boy took a song called Sitting on Top of the World by Brandy. Burna Boy only enjoys 40% of the song. 60% goes to Brandy. He also took another one by, He Wasn't Mad Enough by Tony Braxton. Tony Braxton is also enjoying. He's actually made them a lot of money. A lady called Dolly Parton, she's built $100 million worth of homes for one of these poorest American nations, states, with the money that Whitney Houston made her. I Will Always Love You. Mm-hmm. So what is protected is the property of Dolly Parton.
Yes.
And ZIMURA is saying, if you're a member and you're a composer, whether you do instrumentals, whether you do whatever contributions you made to that, we protect you by ensuring that you earn a living from your works.
Yes.
So ZIMURA is not saying these guys, they shouldn't exist. No. Whatever it is, activities that is happening out there, I'm sure they have laws that also protect them.
So let's get into that
encroach,
issue that you're bringing in. It's actually good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was tabled further, but we keep coming back to it. So let's get into it.
I'm just trying to explain so that people know what it is. Going to say, ZIMURA. It's not even about ZIMURA. They should be saying, Willie Satafi.
Yeah.
They should be saying this because ZIMURA, their mandate is to protect me.
To protect, yes.
So whatever they're doing, I am asking them to do. When my work is being used. Because the thing is, there's a lot of talk that, music or Irenya Kapera, but why are you still playing Bob Marley?
Yeah.
Those guys have long gone.
Why
are you still playing,
Willis, so you further expagorate on that. We actually want to get into it because I mean, that's the burning point, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the burning point. That's where the streets are. Those rupees. We even know of the cover band saga, and we know, for example, that Zimu has come guns blazing against ZIMURA. We know,
which is sad.
It is sad. It is sad because a musicians' union should be working towards musicians getting pay.
Better pay, better living,
getting better pay, better conditions,
things like that.
So Zimu has said that it doesn't care about composers, but it cares only about
the existence
of the cover bands, right? And no one is saying cover bands shouldn't do music because let's clear out the misconceptions where people are saying you want to criminalize cover bands, which is not true, because the owners of the music are saying cover bands can do what they want to do, but they should just pay royalties, isn't it? I think we can then have a discussion into royalties, what royalties are, and why should people pay royalties in line with intellectual property. But to just let's let's open this up, because no matter how we might want to run away from it, it is the issue that is at the heart right now. To say, so many people are talking about world standards and about, venues as well. I think that's something we need to look at as well, to say Zimbabwe's situation where we're an informalized economy, and some people are doing their own events.
At their homes.
At their homes, or they do their own event, or someone hires a venue, but they do their own event. And so we say, and they're dealing with someone else's property.
Yeah.
And then we say, what happens there? What does the law say in terms of infringement, in terms of intellectual property, in terms of what should be done? Because if music is a business, and I think this is where we have a big problem. Many people want to say, hey, music is a business, but when it comes to, because when you have a business, you've got raw materials, right?
Yeah.
And you pay. I don't go into Pick and Pay and pick a product and not pay for it. If I do that,
you pick and pay.
This one, it's pick and pay, right? So I cannot go into, even if I sell things, even if I'm a tuck shop owner, if I go into Pick and Pay, or if I go into Mohammed, or if I go into any shop, if I pick something up, I have to go by the till and pay for it, right? And then I can then sell it at a profit, but I have paid the manufacturer, or I've paid the retailer, right? Because Pick and Pay is a retailer.
Yes.
So let's talk about this cover band issue, because I know it's very hot. I don't know who wants to start with it, because I
think if ZIMURA speaks, it sounds like ZIMURA is after money, ZIMURA is after, but the honest truth is ZIMURA does not exist without composers. ZIMURA's mandate is actually to act on behalf of the interests of IP holders and owners, right?
Correct.
So when we say there is prejudice or there's infringement, because what is happening, what is said is that a country like Poland has a ZIMU, okay? I'll say it using Zimbabwean words so that you understand. Kune ZIMU yeku Poland that determines, ZIMU, which is the Union of Musicians yeku Poland, decides what gets paid by every radio play, how much people collect kuma venues, right, and users, right, and the welfare of the artist. That's what the union does. The trade union did that. But must stay away kunuko, because must stay away. They seek to see the values and the healthcare, standard of living, welfare of people to be better. That is the job of a union. The job of a union does not go and protect a mass. Kuti mass shanda, but mass ikushandisa chani. Because the thing is, I am a founding member with ZIMU yacho. I resigned because of certain reasons that I cannot talk about now. I resigned. But to be honest with you, our job was to make sure that the standard of living for any artist, including cover bands, including composers, that's what ZIMU is supposed to do. So ZIMU is supposed to be the one saying, ZIMURA magona, let's go into arbitration. And then their regulator, who is National Arts Council, would seek, obviously, to understand what is going on. Kanama cover band a complainer. Then we'll have a situation where the director of National Arts Council of Zimbabwe in ZIMURA will speak, because ZIMU has said yes to a fee that the other guys cannot understand. But when we speak and say whatever it is, are we agreeing that there's infringement? Yes, we are agreeing. Are we also agreeing?
Sorry, Willis, I just want to say, when you say we, because people are just saying...
Our composers.
No,
yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Are seeing just... so we are representing musicians. But
we are representing
ZIMURA
composers.
Has how many composers? 4,500?
4,500, 4,006.
How many do they have?
Close to 5,000 now.
Close to 5,000.
Yes.
So
4.9.
When ZIMURA speaks, it's representing the collective will of musicians.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's representing the collective.
They're not acting.
Okay, which is good. Because atili uzoti knows what Willis na tina ashe.
Which is, that's what I'm saying, which is sad, because the thing is, when you speak up, it's Willis. It's not ZIMURA. It's not an organization that is speaking. And yet 5,000 other artists are saying, may we get paid. We just saw something on a tabloid talking about the widows and beneficiaries of those late legends whose music is being used to make other people mari yakawanda. You understand?
Yeah.
Because what I understand with that kind of job is when a bank or a corporation decides they're going to do something like that and support, it should be the music, because the reason for the 10,000 crowd is the old legends music.
It's the music.
That is the reason. That's the raw material. The music is the raw material.
All right, you've name dropped, which is okay.
Yes. So all I'm saying, yeah. Can I just finish? May I just finish?
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that when you have a cost curve of related costs or fixed cost of a venue, which is going to cost X amount of dollars. You also have gear, which is costing X amount of dollars. You also have the band that is performing, which is going to cost you X amount of dollars. Staging and PA systems. And then one of the main costs should be the music that's being played on the day. Because that's the inviting factor. What's inviting people is not a band that is playing their music. What's inviting is that music that these youngsters have become creative with. So you can't say, I've become so creative that I'm now making more money. It's good that you're creative. But on whose work are you being creative? Your own area, kind of good. So then you find out, then you have the so-called self-imposed gurus who are, when they speak, everyone listens. You know what? I always say that when we were in school, we had bullies that used to beat us up for taking number 1 in class. Those people grew up. And they never changed their ways. You know, they grew up. They are still the same.
Yeah.
So what is happening is that you have the so-called self-imposed gurus who speak because they are loud. Like I said, because we at ZIMURA follow the law. We cannot just go and say, hey, Shakati, because throw him out as well. We cannot. We follow the law and procedure. This is why there's arbitration talks that happened with the National Arts Council. And we as composers believed that National Arts Council new director, because we know that he's still new, Napoleon Nyani, we know he's still new, and he's also knowledgeable in the arts business. We know he's still new, but for lack of knowledge, we hoped that it would be a situation where he would say, I may not understand the 150, right? He may not understand it, it may be too drastic, because his mandate is also to protect ZIMU, Reshua, because he is the regulator of ZIMU. So when ZIMU complains to him, he should act, which is a given, right?
Yeah. But sorry, also, you're moving very, very important things that you're talking about. I just wanted to clarify that, and guys, feel free, this one is an open one, because Willis is
I was going somewhere, you know.
No, I know you're going somewhere.
Because
sorry,
at this
can
point,
I just moderate you?
All right.
I wanted to also say, Napoleon with the ZIMU just doesn't supposed to protect cover bands. Because we actually even need to look at the legitimacy of ZIMU. Pani something chawataura chiri important. Where you said you were part of the steering.
I'm a founding.
You're part of the
member,
founders, right? How many years has ZIMU been?
About 12 years now.
Has ZIMU ever had an election?
Well, I resigned. I wouldn't know, but that's
okay.
Because
So I'm saying, as I know for a fact, that ZIMU has never had an election. It has had the same president for 12 years. So that's a self-imposed. You see, these are the things that people need that people do not know about. Yeah,
I may not know the ins and outs because I resigned, but that Edith has been the president since interim.
So ZIMU is not legitimate. Because, for example,
they may have voted back in. You know, I'm just saying. They may have voted back in. We do not know.
But we say elections every year, right?
Yes.
Let's open up.
Every 3 years.
Every 3 years, ZIMURA has elections. Yeah. Right, so that means the board changes. So even if we're talking about, from a perspective of law, maybe because this issue is still there. From a perspective of law, ZIMU is actually an illegitimate baby. That, of course, they have a grievance that a lot of the Ruzhinji kana kuti vanhu vakawanda, or the majority of people who are
it's
on
not
their
majority.
Side. Okay, it's not the majority.
It's the loudest.
Okay,
let's say the loudest.
It's the
because
loudest
the majority
minority.
are 5,000 artists who are being prejudiced.
Okay.
Kuzimura.
All right.
Yeah, it's just the loudest. That's what they used to. Right. So all I'm saying is that while I resigned, I know it has had one president for life who does not live in Zimbabwe anymore, by the way.
So first of all, the president isn't even in the geographical location.
Yes, of Zimbabwe.
Not only is it illegitimate, the president is not in the geographical location.
Yes. So not knowing kuti ningi yavo inoshanda sei now. Maybe they may have they are, what you call that, bumbura remutemo,
The
maybe
constitution.
vakaita referendum, I don't know.
But how do you have it? Because who is a
we're not
member?
here to talk about them for yet.
There's a point I want to bring in terms of intellectual property, and the point you brought up about the National Arts Council, to say that National Arts Council acted on ZIMU because ZIMU is its baby. But ZIMU, as a musicians union, should represent even the composers, because composers are musicians.
Yes, I'm saying, look, because of the mess that it has made, ZIMU is the one that is supposed to be saying kune ZIMURA, kwakati. Why? Because it's part of the welfare uplifting strategy, yes, ZIMU, to see artists living better, getting better pay. Venues are just taking advantage of cover bands, because cover bands have no negotiating power on property that does not belong to them. So they'll go and get lesser money, ABCD.
Okay, I'm just being told in terms of our time.
Okay.
Let's keep it open. So I think, guys, feel free to speak.
So my last point before we go, I was going to say that because we assumed that because we have a new director at NACZ, he would then say, I seek to understand what is going on. Saka, can we suspend your 150 tariffs because we do not understand it? We need to discuss it. And may we also cease cover band activities because there is infringement. So National Arts Council stands for all artists. It doesn't matter who they regulate. They stand for all artists. So they were supposed to actually were seizing cover band activities until further notice, and we're also suspending Jagati, even if they don't have jurisdiction at all. But I'm saying, for lack of better knowledge, that should have been the case where we feel good. Okay, I think Jamira Oksaidugu, because if these guys continue to do what they're doing, what is good? What's the motivation for them to even approach NACZ to say, tichashanda Tamira? Because kanapane mari kugadzirwa, kurodza kuti vanhu pane mari kugadzirwa. That man, they should be going to the Dembo families and whoever else is and all of us, right? Saka, if there's no money to be made, why are people not just writing their own music and performing their own music?
Thank you, Willis. Very good. You see, podcast need time. We open it up to you guys. Cover band 150 because one thing I will say is, because pakaita a lot of noise, and also noise. Because a lot of people didn't even understand. I think ZIMURA kept quiet. ZIMURA became the gentleman. But in becoming the gentleman, ZIMURA was given a sucker punch. It was given a sucker punch. But now, I think ZIMURA, in this podcast, ZIMURA has got, needs to speak. So obviously, we're going to give management. I don't know who wants to start, Ms. Polisile or Mr. Makombe Moti with the time you do Famba Sterix. Go ahead.
I will start. We said earlier that ZIMURA is a collecting society. And a collecting society relies on what are called tariffs to collect revenue that it will eventually pay as royalties. And these tariffs are developed by each collecting society, looking at the economy, looking at the users that are in the space. And ZIMURA has had tariffs ever since it was established in 1982. The tariffs for cover bands has always been there, but it was not 150. When we go to our law, the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Act of Zimbabwe, Chapter 26.05, it says in Section 17, authors have exclusive rights to their artistic works. In this case, it's in their music. When they say exclusive rights, it means the artist has got all the rights to do what they want to do with their music and to allow others to do what they want to do with the music. So if you are a cover band and you've not asked for authority to do what you want to do with someone's music, you are infringing copyright. You are as good as a pirate who has duplicated discs and they are selling them for $1 for 2. Yet an original disc will go for some $10. So I think I'll stop there and let Didi go further.
Please go ahead, Didi.
Okay. I think the public needs to understand that ZIMURA is not just for compliance sake. Otherwise, if we were there just for people to pay a fee so that they get a license, the right holders will then have an outcry against ZIMURA. So we exist because we are supposed to make sure that when we license someone who is using a property that does not belong to him, and when we get the revenue, we are supposed to distribute a meaningful royalty to the owner, because this is business. We spoke about it. You can't operate a business when you are running at a loss. The management is supposed to sit down, review their pricing structure, and then come up with a strategy to say, no, this is, if we put up a price like this one, then the organization will remain a going concern. So as Zimbabwe Music Rights Association, we've got members that gave us their rights. And we have to make sure that from the collections that we do, we have to distribute meaningful royalties. And when we say 150, we want the value to get to the owner of the music. Because this cover band that is performing today is being given their money today, and they can invest today, and they can make meaningful decisions out of the money that they get. But we have to make sure that from that revenue, when they are paid, if they pay ZIMURA, when we pay Willis is supposed to go and maybe pay for the school fees of his children. He's going to maybe invest in a stand, not to say 150 is going to buy a stand, but it has to be something that is valuable to them. So our structure, then we looked at various elements, number of songs that they perform, these cover bands. We looked at how much they get per event. We looked at a number of events that a band can perform in a month. We also looked at the size of the venues where these guys go and perform. So those are various elements that we use when we are now coming up with a fee of, say, if we say 150, will this cover band remain in business? Yes. Will the owner of the property can say, now I've received a meaningful royalty? Yes. Can also ZIMURA, from the percentage that we are going to get, cover our admin? Is it meaningful? Yes. Then we say this is okay.
What do you say to people who say the ministry shut you down? People who say the ministry shut you down, and who say NAC, which didn't have jurisdiction over you, but which says, and the whole registration issue, we're running out of time. But so are you saying that ZIMURA is in the works to bring back the 150? What is going on? Are the widows, because they are owners, because we said it's property. So property, because it's property, it can be inherited, right? I think that's something we hadn't talked about, but people know it. So it can be inherited. So I also know that a lot of people on social media saying, koyo vanaima legends ava vari kupopotere nyaya yavo ndeyei because music yanga isiri yavo yanga iri yababa vavo. You know, they don't understand that intellectual property is inherited. And then also, so we are cutting down, we're really out of time.
Let someone live in their homes, ka. If they inherited homes, let someone just come and say, I'm coming to stay rent free. Yeah, I'm sure the one got popota, I'm sure they'll be holding axes at people like that.
But the Minister of Justice shut ZIMURA down. Saka, what do you have? What does ZIMURA has to say or was it not a shutdown, or what is now happening? What is going on? What is the way forward? I think in closing we're running out of time. In closing,
okay, I wanted to say something about the tariffs. Every year we develop our tariffs, like what my executive director has just said. We develop these tariffs and we submit these tariffs to the ministry.
To the Ministry of Justice.
Yes.
So you submitted the one.
We submitted and they stamped the tariff on the 28th of January.
Okay. Can you repeat that? So that tariff was submitted and approved.
Yes.
And stamped.
It was stamped. So the Copyright Act does not say that the Ministry of Justice will approve. It just says that when we develop tariffs as an organization, as a CMO, we have to file those tariffs, just like our financial statements. And our CR6, we have to submit to the ministry, so that they know if there is a public outcry, they can have something to refer to from their file. Yes. So we submitted and they stamped on the 28th that tariff of 150.
But so they shut you down.
Yeah. I wouldn't say they shut us down,
okay.
Per se. What they said is suspend the 150 tariff until they look into the tariffs, and also what words did they use? And also consult with other stakeholders. So it's
the stakeholders are the cover bands?
No.
We don't know from their side. They are going to tell us. Sometime next week we are going to have a meeting, and I think it's going to be sorted out.
Okay, all right. We've just run out of time, but you can continue.
Yeah.
But I wanted to clarify that, because I'm shocked. So the tariff was submitted and it was approved.
It was approved by
Ministry. So it wasn't a shutdown.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think my closing remarks, because of near time, is to say, once again, the artist or the musician in Zimbabwe has fallen for the oldest trick in the book, where you are divided again and forced to fight for crumbs as always. The two can coexist, because we work with cover bands as our session musicians in collaborative efforts and all stuff. We have offered ourselves as composers. I myself, I've written and produced a lot of artists. There's an album that won a SAMA award in December in South Africa by a Zimbabwean artist called Edgar Musa that I contributed music to. So we have offered ourselves to write and produce local artists who are cover bands. Guys, it's time for you to do ABCD. There's so much of the industry we need to create together in coexistence. This is not about a fight. This is not about the loudest who's the loudest. This is about the law. This is about the honor of intellectual property, to say, and you cannot say because you perform better or whatever, because you're not better than the original artist. You can be creative, and your fathers can be lying to you and taking you on a ride and telling you how correct you are. But the honest truth is, where there's infringement, there is infringement. So there should be honor and respect, because this shouldn't be happening. We should be having talks where artists or those who don't compose talk to composers and get to work together, because it's an industry we need to create so we can coexist. So can we make this about the music business, not personal attacks? I thank you.
All right. You know, it's really, go ahead, Deputy Director. It's just an issue of time, but we need
in
more
closing.
time to say these things. Go ahead, Deputy Director.
This podcast is not specifically for cover bands.
I know,
yes,
but we cannot run away from it.
Because there are users, just like broadcasters. Yes, we've got challenges with other users, just like the challenges that you are experiencing with the cover bands. But we exist to make sure that we collect and distribute. That's our business. We have to make sure that we use the right instruments, which is the tariff, and we follow the proper and legal procedures of enforcement of whoever is using music out there. So we are not, our tariff is not limited to cover bands, it's not limited to bars, broadcasting stations. Even with the evolvement of technology, we are now realizing that music usage on the digital space is now increasing every day. So we have to make sure that we we also psych ourselves around that and make revenue from the use of music on the digital space. So yeah, we've got these issues, but people need to understand that music is business, and if you're a music a composer out there, you need to register with the Zimbabwe Music Rights Association, and this is the only organization that can protect your interests.
Okay, we do not have time to talk about other things, but Ms. Polisile, you can give us a final remarks. I know the team is going to be like, you guys are going way over time, and this is what saying, but anyway, Ms. Polisile, go ahead and your final remarks.
Okay, to borrow words from Willis, it doesn't matter how loud someone can be, particularly these cover bands. What ZIMURA is saying is the law has to be followed. The law is there. It has not changed. And if you are using someone else's work, you've got to ask for their authority. If you have not asked for their authority, you are infringing their rights, and you are liable for legal proceedings.
Thank you, thank you. In closing, I'm just going to say we really wanted to discuss a lot of things, but obviously because of our time, I think what we're going to do is we're going to have many more podcasts. And what I want to tell people is, guys, for these issues, ZIMURA is your go-to place for information, because we have to come against misinformation. So you subscribe. I think they're going to put a thing saying subscribe to the ZIMURA YouTube page. Go follow them on Facebook. And this issue is going to be discussed in further detail, because I think a question that maybe some of these cover bands have is to say, then how does IP, intellectual property, help with youth empowerment? And I know they are youth. I'm also a youth. I mean, I'm 36. I believe I'm a youth. So I believe that I am a youth. I mean, 36. Did not think I'm a youth.
We were 19. We were 19 when we started writing music. Started writing music at 16. Now we were 19 when Africa Revenge started happening. So I turned to my youth.
According to
ZANU-PF, we are youth. Still my youth, still 40 something, but we're still my youth. All I'm just saying is all I'm just saying is that that's not an excuse, because we have an holy 10, and these young Mazim dancehall artists, my youth, they're empowering themselves by writing their own music. So it's these ones. It's these ones. Youth empowerment is out of the question. Let's not politicize. Because that's why I say the people are loud because they want to politicize things. Hey, youth empowerment, because we were also young when we did this for ourselves.
We're still young.
We actually never got an opportunity to perform at venues because we decided to play original music. So when you decide not to play original music and other people's music, then there's a price to pay. This is what ZIMURA is saying. There's a price to pay because the owner needs to be compensated. You can't just go willy-nilly making money and not incur anything, because it's a decision one makes at the end of the day. So this is what we're saying. There's young people, they are deciding to write music, and they're starting from minors because they are incurring costs in recording, producing, rehearsing, making sure they're paying studios and mastering, right? And launching and kutonya vanhu kuti iri go pa radio zvinhu zvakadaro. And then for one guy to just wait pa radio akamira a hit song, and then they go and rehearse it, then they go and charge half the price of the artist.
Jealous.
Kana mlojambisa vanhu ka maspika vajambise nemiziki yenyu nokugona kwenyu toona kuti muri kugona, because you are now tentaenzana.
Can I give my final remarks? Okay, so nanchiti my final remark. We're going to have more podcasts. So guys, make sure you subscribe to the ZIMURA page, because we're going to have more podcasts. We're really going to talk about this. At the end of the day, I wanted to say the final remarks are ZIMURA is a very good organization for any musician. ZIMURA haiskuba mari yemunhu, nekuti ZIMURA is trying to actually help the composer, the 4,500 members. So I just wanted to say this as a final remark, because the men on the street might be thinking, ZIMURA yacho irungoramba ichingonetsa vanhu. ZIMURA cannot give the owners of the property money from A. They have, like they said, they have to get money from
They have
tariffs,
to license
right?
people.
And that's the issue of royalty. So anyway, you know, I don't want to be beaten up because of taking time. So we are going to give it a close. Subscribe to the ZIMURA YouTube channel. Follow them on Facebook. Follow them on Twitter. I follow them on Twitter.
And
as well.
thank you for
And
this.
TikTok.
This project is this subject was also hot and heated. Today we're celebrating World IP Day with the theme IP and music and what? Feel the
Feel
beat.
the beat.
Feel the beat.
This is what this is the reason for this podcast. As a matter of fact, is we're celebrating, but because these are burning issues in Zimbabwe, we
just have to
them.
talk about
We
it.
have to talk about it because people need to know what is
This
happening.
is the final.
This is the final.
Guys, Roy Willis.
Feeling the beat.
Thank you guys, and please subscribe to ZIMURA YouTube channels and online platforms for more details. Thank you very much for having us.
Okay, great.